Hi everyone, Alison Carrier here again, teacher at Earl of March High School in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. Today we're going to be exploring the concept of motion in dance as our fourth and final foundation element. Hope you enjoy. So when we talk about motion, some of the earliest explorations into categorizing motion was done by Rudolf Laban. Now, his 8 effort actions are well established, well understood, and spoken about a lot in classrooms. However, I find that for purposes of a high school dance or an elementary school dance environment, it's a lot simpler to break it down a little bit further and to discuss motion, how I'm going to discuss it with you today. So, when we break it down, I'm going to describe 6 different types of motions that students can observe and speak about. The first one is percussive motion. Percussive motion is described as any motion that has a very distinct beginning and end. Here is percussive motion. Anything going from point A to point B with a clear beginning and a clear ending. To contrast that, we have something called sustained motion. Sustained motion is any type of motion that doesn't have a really clear beginning or ending. We might call that, it might look a little more smooth, a little more flowy, whereas percussive might be strong, sharp, distinct, clear. So we have percussive and we have sustained. Distinct beginning and ending, less distinct beginning and ending. 2 other types of motion that we also like to identify in my dance classroom are sustained or suspended and collapse motion. So suspended motion is any motion that looks like it's poised on the edge of gravity. Any lift is a suspension. Anytime a dancer is standing on a rise, they would be considered in suspension. Any jump is a suspension. So if I'm suspended, it's like I'm being held on the edge of gravity. To contrast that, we have something called collapse motion. So collapse motion is any time a dancer's body is affected by gravity such that it's like those strings were cut and the body collapses. So suspend, collapse. Percussive, clear beginning and ending. Sustained, no distinct clear beginning and ending. Suspensions, poised on the edge of gravity. Collapse, like gravity taking the body down into a lower space. Vibratory motion is any motion that kind of shakes and shimmies. It vibrates, so just my finger moving like this I could consider vibratory, my head moving, my shoulders, my whole body. Vibratory motion, if you saw an entire piece full of vibratory motion, that would be very distracting for the audience. Vibratory motion to me is used as an accent. It's used to capture the audience attention. It could create weirdness or strangeness. Or can elicit an emotional response. Like if I, for instance, was showing someone shuddering in pain or crying or with joy or ecstasy. So that's the kinds of times I might try to make the choice to use vibratory motion to get that emotion across in my narrative. Swing motion. Swing motion is any motion that rotates and turns, swings. All turning is swing motion. Again, to me, swing motion is something that we use as an accent. So any turn is considered swing motion. Anytime I'm swinging my body, swinging my arms, I would identify that as swing motion. An idea for a project that you can do with your students is having students create a piece, maybe a 2-minute piece of choreography, where they don't forget about shape, space, and time. So perhaps I'm going to make sure I use all 3 types of timing, unison, sequential, random. I want to have shapes of all sorts. I want to use all different levels, all different travel patterns. But what I really want them to focus on is maybe 1 type of motion. So I would get the students into groups of 4 or 2 or 6, and I would have them not forget about the other foundation elements, but really highlight. So for instance, I would say your group today, when you work on your piece of choreography in this project, is going to focus on vibratory motion. So I don't want them having a piece where all they're doing is shaking, but I really want them to use vibratory motion as an accent. Or I'd say, hey, this piece needs to be very percussive in nature. And so that they can start to really focus on that particular type of motion. Then when we present, every group has a different type of motion that they would be working with. And then I'll have students watch and try to identify, so we keep it a secret, and try to identify what that group was really focusing on. So that's two ways where we start to sit back, identify within ourselves creatively how to use that type of motion, and then to be able to sit back and watch dance and identify it there as well. Just quickly, I wanted to show you what I mean by those types of motion in a larger scale with my full body. So, first type of motion, percussive. So, if I'm going to do a movement that has a distinct beginning and ending, I can probably just go boom. That would be percussive motion, right? Sustained motion. So, let's say I'm going to move my arms, I'm going to flow back. Doesn't really matter. That would be considered sustained motion. So the difference would be like boom, boom, percussive, or sustained. No clear beginning. A suspension. Anytime I'm towards the edge of balance. So there's a suspension right there. Maybe it looks like I'm just about to fall. Okay? Collapse. So I can collapse through my torso. Okay? There's a really big difference between percussively throwing my body down and collapsing. So if I'm percussively throwing my body down, I might really push it, yeah? If I'm going to distinguish between this percussive throw down and a collapse might look more like, so there'd be that little feeling of gravity taking my body as opposed to my muscular action pushing my body into a specific space. So, percussive, sustain, suspend, collapse. Vibratory. As simple as my hand moving, as simple as my head moving. Swing motion, so anytime I'm turning, if I'm moving my arm, swing.
And that's a wrap. Thank you for watching our 4 videos on the 4 foundation elements of dance. If you have any questions or comments about teaching motion in your classroom, you can leave those in the comment section below. For additional notes on motion, check out the link in the video description below. Just as a side, I do need to mention that none of these would be possible without my early mentorship with a teacher in our board who is a fabulous dance educator at West Carleton High School. Her name is Alison Hauk, and many years ago when I started teaching, introduced me to the concept of teaching dance theory through these basic 4 elements of dance. And it has been an absolutely great way to approach dance theory with my students. So thank you, Alison Hauk. I appreciate it so much.